Hi friends, your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Daggerheart and Dungeons and Dragons and why Critical Role just flushed away 90% of its ability to be for Daggerheart to be a D&D killer. There's still a path for Daggerheart to be a D&D killer, but it's very narrow. And the reason why is they delivered the game with a broken, deficient rule set. And now, how could it beat D&D with a broken, deficient rule set? Well, when D&D started on February 7th, 1974, it had a broken, deficient rule set, but the excitement of the community was enough. Critical Role could still succeed on they have 3 million critters. If 10% of them advocate for the game, that's 300,000 active people. In addition to that, D&D hate is extremely real. It's a powerful force, and it could really help Daggerheart. So there is still a path for it to be a D&D killer, but by making it so that the game will have to succeed despite what's in the book, it massively lowered that opportunity. Today I want to talk about why. Why did Critical Role do this? Why did they deliver a game with a broken, deficient rule set and massively reduce their ability to have Daggerheart function as a D&D killer? All right, so I've already talked about who's responsible. And the who's responsible, there are 4 people responsible, and they're responsible in this order, first to last, okay? Most responsible to least, and it is Travis Willingham, Matthew Mercer, Spencer Stark, and John Harper. They're all responsible for this failure, okay? But why? Why did Critical Role choose to do this? Well, I'm going to tell it right to you right now. Comfort. Travis Willingham and Matthew Mercer are literally Hollywood celebrities, right? And they're like, and when you're a Hollywood celebrity, you get a rider. You get to say, hey, I want M&Ms in my green room. I want M&Ms in the green room. And every single one of those M&Ms are going to be blue. And that means you're going to open up 50 bags of M&Ms and just pick out the blue ones. And why? Because that's what I'm comfortable with, right? And the reality is, so basically, wait, Scott, what's your evidence that it was simply comfort? Well, here you go. The lead designer on this game is Spencer Stark, okay? He was the lead design on Candela Obscura. Candela Obscura was garbage. It did nothing. Like, it did not sell. It didn't work as a live play. It did nothing. It did not, do anything, right? Now, so you do a dry run, right? You use Spencer Stark to build Candela Obscura. Candela Obscura fails. It fails completely, right? So now you have a company, air quotes, a company, right? So, and that's the other question. Is Darrington Press a real company? Increasingly, it's looking like no. They were not able to release, there was no release day for Daggerheart. They said, oh, the release day is May 20th. I live in Philadelphia area. I checked 7 shops, right, to get this book. One shop had 2 copies that had been sold weeks before the release day. There was literally not a single, I could not find a single physical copy in the Philadelphia area, right? The release day was non-existent, right? They delivered it with a broken, deficient rule set, right? And so why? Right? Well, well, first of all, the release day is not Spencer Stark's problem, but Spencer Stark should have been taken off of the lead design role immediately. It's arguable he shouldn't even have been kept on as an additional game designer, right, for this game, let alone being given him the lead role. He was given the lead role after he already massively failed with a much easier lift, right? There was absolutely no reason to think that this was going to succeed. And so the moment that Candela Obscura happened, what you needed then was an uncomfortable conversation, right? Like Travis Willingham was, had to go into Spencer Stark and say, listen, we believed in you. We gave you a chance. You delivered garbage. It did nothing. They're still sitting on the shelves. It looks like garbage. It's written like garbage. It performed like garbage. You're fired. Sorry. Done. Right? Like, and actually, I don't even think I would have fired him and be like, hey, you know what? You can still write adventures for one of these actresses that's connected to us has a new, go help her with her, we have this actress lady who does some DMing for us. I can't even remember her name right now. I apologize. Why don't you go help her with that, right? Like I think it would have been too cruel to fire him, right? Just shuffle him off to a project where his work would not have harmed anything, and they could have been like, oh, this actress lady, her adventure doesn't need to be good. They're just going to add it on to D&D. They're going to add it into D&D canon, whether it's good or bad, right? Because she brushed her face up against Critical Role, and she's an actual Hollywood celebrity, so the quality doesn't matter. So you going and working on that project is not going to harm it, right? Like it's not going to matter. The quality on that product does not matter. But on Daggerheart, this matters, right? So we need you off of this, right? And that would have been tough. That would have been a really hard conversation for Travis Willingham to have. But there's every bit of evidence that he should have had this, right? Like Candela Obscura was the proof they needed that Spencer Stark was not ready for the big time. They left him as the design lead on a project that was meant to be a mainstream 4-quadrant D&D killer, right? And they left him on there when he had proven he couldn't even remotely open a tabletop role-playing game, right? He'd already proven it, right? And so this all happened because Travis Willingham is not a real CEO, and he is unwilling to do anything hard. And when you look at Dungeons and Dragons, oh my gosh, like Gary Gygax sacrificed everything, right? Travis Willingham isn't willing to sacrifice his latte, right? Like he's not doing anything hard, and that's why you get these results, right? You get now he is a Hollywood celebrity, and he remains a Hollywood celebrity, and that has its own source of real power. But it can't produce real art. It produces garbage, right? And then you use your Hollywood celebrity to sell garbage, right? And that's where we are now. Now, I actually think the setting on Daggerheart is not garbage. The release was absolutely garbage, and the rules are definitely garbage. The rules are like high crunch narrative focus. That's a paradox. That's not a real thing. Like that is absolutely not a thing. So that's why this failed because of comfort. Travis Willingham specifically demands to be comfortable and was comfortable and saved himself a hard conversation. And all he has to do is reduce his and all he had to do to make sure that he didn't have to have a hard conversation with Spencer Stark was to sacrifice 90% of the chance that Daggerheart would be a D&D killer. There you go. That's why. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.